Okay, I am in a weird position, and that is I help creators publish videos not only on social media platforms, but also on digital asset platforms like NFT platforms, from that matter. So, what I did for today's creator workshop is I distilled down 7 essential, vital rules that you need to know if you are a video creator for social media or a video creator for one of the digital asset platforms. What I really wanted to do is get the rules right so that you could understand them and you could execute on them and not risk problems with video creation. And that is being suspended on a platform. That is having one of your videos taken down. That is having your account completely canceled. We've seen that obviously on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and we've also seen it, and maybe you haven't seen the headlines, but a lot of the NFT platforms have taken down videos because they violate community guidelines, they violate terms of service. I don't want that to happen to you. So in today's video, we're going to go through these 7 essential rules. They're kind of, I tried to kind of encapsulate them, but they're actually detailed rules. And so if any time you have a question as we go forward on these rules, please put it in the comments. Also, join my Discord server. That's the best way to reach me. I'm on that all the time. It's live action. We're answering legal questions. We're coming up with opportunities for you in this digital asset space. So please ask your questions in the comments. Maybe we can hit them up as we go forward. I also want to mention, I forgot one more thing, is that I put together a free guide which gives you just the important points of what we're talking about today. And so you can download this free guide by clicking the link in the description section below. You may want to download it now so that you can follow along, or perhaps if you have to leave early, this will help you understand what we talked about and also help you remember what we talked about. Maybe you even keep it on your computer as a guide that you use as you're creating videos so that you don't get in a situation where you don't know these rules and you risk termination of your social media account or maybe your NFT platform account. So that's being said, let's get straight to it. I'm going to have a sip of my morning coffee. I love these 8 a.m. Workshops. And let's get straight to the rules. So I'm going to do a shift 5. All right. Well, that's not the right one. Rule number 1. I know it stinks and no one wants to do it, but you've got to read the terms of service for the given platform that you're going to publish on before you ever publish one of your videos. So if it is OpenSea, and if you want to be able to create videos that people can buy as digital assets, you've got to read the terms of service. Obviously, we've talked about this before. If it's YouTube, you got to read those terms of service. I will say this, that in the past 2 years or so, YouTube has done a good job of trying to make their terms of service pretty understandable. It's kind of taken away a little bit of my job to kind of translate from legalese terms of service. So no one wants to read boring terms of service, but I got to tell you, it's getting easier and it is vital so that you can ensure the long-lasting video creation career that I know you are going to have, whether it be on social media or whether it be on one of the NFT platforms. So let's do what I was going to do is actually go over a couple key terms on the YouTube terms of service, just to give you examples of why it would be important for you to review the terms of service. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I just want to go through a couple here. So I'll go shift 6 and we'll move there. Hopefully you can see it. Let me know in the comments if you do not see these terms of service. So this first one is your use of the service, and in YouTube parlance, the service is everything. It's your videos, it's your comments, it's your description sections, it's your logos. Everything that you put on YouTube is called the service. Subject to these terms, the YouTube community guidelines and the policy, safety, and copyright policies, which may be updated from time to time together with this agreement. So I'm going to spend a very little amount of time on this because I know it's kind of a little bit boring, but the bottom line is, when you read the terms of service, whether it be for YouTube or whether it be for Foundation or one of the digital asset platforms, just understand that they incorporate by reference a lot of other rules. So it's not sufficient just to go to YouTube terms of service, type it into the Google, search and find those terms of service and say, I read them, good, I'll move on. There's only a couple points that I need to see. No, actually, probably the more important part of YouTube's rules are the community guidelines. So that's one example of you're reading these terms of service and you're going, okay, there's a lot more that I need to know, a lot more I need to read. Let's move on to permissions and restrictions. This is a question I get a lot in the Discord server because people are downloading YouTube videos and converting them into NFTs or some digital assets, or vice versa. Frankly, they're posting stuff from OpenSea onto YouTube. And this question came up. I forgot the gentleman's name, but he basically said, listen, isn't it okay to download YouTube videos for personal use? And the answer is yes, it is actually. And let's look at the rule real quick so we can parse it. The following restrictions apply to the use of your service. You are not allowed to access, reproduce, download, distribute, transmit, broadcast, display, sell, license, alter, modify, or otherwise use any part of the service or any content except as expressly authorized by the service, okay? And then obviously with the prior written permission of YouTube. So what does this mean? Yeah, you can download videos for personal use, but on your mobile app. You can only download as YouTube gives you that option. So a lot of creators out there use 4K downloader or a host of different applications to download YouTube videos, to take a portion or use them all and put them on their own videos. And then they claim fair use. And we're going to talk about fair use, of course, which is coming up as rule number 2, I believe. And then they say, hey, listen, YouTube says it in the terms of service. And that's not the case. If you actually review these terms, you'll see that YouTube only allows you to download as they allow it through their apps, through their programs. So that, of course, that includes downloading YouTube videos for backup purposes too, but it does not include downloading these videos and then including them on your videos. Listen, people do it all day long. Obviously, I'm thinking of Cody Co right now. I mean, the whole show is premised on downloading other content and putting it on his channel and then reacting to it. But technically, it does violate the the terms of service. So what's important about that is we're going to move on to this one, because this is the other area where I get tons and tons of questions. Removal of content by YouTube. If any of your content is in breach of this agreement or may cause harm to YouTube or our users or third parties, we reserve the right to remove the takedown or take down some or all of the content in our discretion. This is the primary terms of service that YouTube uses all the time to be able to suspend, take down videos, take down accounts. They have all control over the stuff that is uploaded to YouTube, and they can base it on the fact that it's that the content they see is in breach of the agreement. And the agreement is not only the terms of service that we're looking at right now, it's also the community guidelines, it's the safety guidelines, it's the policy guidelines, it's the advertising guidelines. So when someone comes to me and says, listen, I got no notice, my channel was taken down, my content was taken down, no notice, I'm very sympathetic, and we work together to be able to get that content back up. And I've done that successfully, probably 9 times out of 10. However, just realize that YouTube has the ultimate iron fist, and they can take down whatever they want to take down, because they'll just say, hey, listen, it's in violation of our community guidelines. And we're not going to take time to review the community guidelines right now, but I got to tell you, there's so many ways to violate the community guidelines. It kind of reminds me of like a broken taillight in a police auto type stop, where it's just like they can come up with anything to be able to pull you over. And the same is true with YouTube. They can come up with anything to be able to, take down videos that they don't like. So those are the 3 terms of service that I wanted to review with you. I think YouTube you're probably most familiar with, so I picked that. But there's also parallel terms of service on the digital asset platforms. I'm thinking of Magic Eden. I'm thinking of OpenSea, of course. They all have their own terms of service. And so before you start putting up your digital videos that you want to sell, just remember that you've got to review those terms of service so that you understand the ins and outs, and that doesn't jeopardize your career. Because I want you guys all to succeed. I want you guys to take advantage of this new money-making opportunity that allows us to not just give our private information to the social media platforms and in exchange for them allowing us to publish and grow audiences. I want you to take advantage of this Web3 concept, which is, listen, we can sell anything. I read an article the other day that says that some of the new social media platforms, or some of the new paradigms for social media platforms, they're going to charge for DMs. And that would eliminate bots and things like that, because there would be a charge. I'm down with it. I mean, what if you could actually DM, let's say, Gary Vaynerchuk, but it costs $10? I mean, I don't want to pay $10, but at the same time, that if there's money exchange, maybe he's more apt to respond to my DM. So anyway, that's another subject for another day. Let's move on to rule number 2. I feel like singing today. I recently saw Top Gun, and I have that music in my back of my head here. All right, so this is rule number 2: understand copyright. So I made lots of videos about copyright in my life. Matter of fact, I think I made 30 videos. And I'm making more. Actually, I'm editing a video right now about copyright for digital assets, because believe it or not, there are unique considerations that you have before you start putting up your videos as NFTs. But anyway, let's talk about copyright now. I always break it down into 2 sections to help people understand. One is others content, and then your content. The reason why I start with others content is because oftentimes we want to use others content without their permission and put on our videos and make, viral videos. So just the basics. All right. When someone creates a video and they save it onto their computer, they're using Final Cut Pro or Premiere or something like that. They just saved it. All right. Means that video is automatically copyrighted, and they own that copyright to that video. It's automatic. And I don't care if you do it in China or maybe China's different, actually. But let's say you did it in Australia, or Egypt, or Hungary, whatever it is. You are automatically copyrighted when you create that video. You don't need to file anything. That means that you have the right to copy that video. You have the right to alter it. You have the right to build upon it. In other words, you made this video and you want to do a part 2, or you want to use it and make fun of yourself, whatever. You have that right. And it also means that nobody can use that content that you created without getting your permission. That's the fundamental rule. And if you abide by that rule, boom, you're never going to have problems with OpenSea Foundation, Async Art, YouTube, Instagram. You're never going to have problems, because if you follow the rule that you can't use someone else's content without their permission, then you're good. All right. And we can talk about how to signal to these platforms permission, but let's just for now understand that if you can only borrow someone's content if you have their permission. Let me just say hi to a couple of fools that are here today, a couple early adopters that I like to call them. Top Financial Alpha, he is here. Let's see if I can put this on the screen to show his stuff. Yeah. Hi, Ian. Great to be here. Well, great to see you here, Top Financial Alpha. We also have Kevin Hawthorne. Good morning from Lakeland, Florida. I am going to visit Lakeland, Florida, and I'm going to knock on your door, and I'm going to get some coffee sometime because I want to visit it. I just love Kevin. He's so good. Oh, we got this. The Awakened Satan within Christ is here. We also have the Josine channel. Hi, nice talk. Thanks for sharing this live channel. Well, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. We got King Sebastian here. Woohoo! He actually agreed with me. I would pay if it makes sense, if it makes answer. I know it's kind of true. I don't know that there'll be a guarantee if we ever transition to paid DMs, but I bet there's a better chance than not. And I'm thinking about Super Chat. I'm thinking about in a situation like we're in right now. Right now, one of you guys could Super Chat me. And I got to tell you, I'm not obligated under law to respond to your $5 Super Chat. But I got to tell you that being a good person like I am, I'm going to get to it, right? I'm going to go to the people that actually have put down their hard-earned money, especially in this day and age where it's so hard to make ends meet, to answer your question. So that may be Super Chat. Twitter may be Super Chat all around. So it may be something that's valuable to us. All right, so let's go to okay. So we're still on copyright, and I talked about others' content. You understand that when you create something, it's automatically copyrighted. You don't need to file anything. You don't need to fill out any boring governmental forms to get something copyrighted. And of course, once something is automatically copyrighted, people need permission from you to use your content. Now, I will say this just as a kind of a little side note. When you do create something, it's probably better to copyright it. And that means file documents with your government in the United States here, copyright.gov. It's fairly easy to do, and it doesn't cost too much. And there are some distinct advantages to registering your copyright. And that has to do with if you ever have to enforce your copyright in federal court and court. You have the presumption, of course, that you own the copyright, and then you have the ability to recover what's called statutory damages, which are kind of like, I don't want to say guaranteed damages, but they're damages that you can, if you show that you've lost something as a result of someone using your copyright, you automatically get without having to prove, substantial, loss of income or loss of an opportunity to, do something commercially. So anyway, So just so you know, and if I actually am coming out with a video probably tomorrow about this copyright, and I'm giving you a free guide on how to register your copyright if you want to. So watch tomorrow's video if you want to learn about registering the copyright to your videos, whether it be on social media or on digital content platforms. All right. So, and then we're going to move on to the second part of our copyright, and that is your content. All right. So when you create a video, it is automatically copyrighted, and other people can't use it without your permission unless they use the doctrine of fair use. And I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with fair use. I'm going to be real brief with it, but it is a rule that exists throughout the world, which basically says, listen, there should be a free speech right for people to build upon other people's art. Otherwise, how are we ever going to grow as a society? And so in recognition of that free speech right, we have codified this rule, Title USC or Title 17 USC Code Section 107, which says that if you borrow a small portion of someone else's content, and it is not the heart of the content, it is not the main gist of the content, and you execute certain things to transform that content, like you do commentary on this clip, you make fun of this clip, you news report, you teach about this clip, then the law is going to honor that and say, listen, that's a fair use of someone else's content, and therefore that use was okay without the permission of the original content creator, and we're not going to allow this lawsuit to go forward. So, and there's also another thing too. We see this a lot in YouTube videos. They'll just use small little clips of other people's videos. There's a thing called nominative fair use, and that just basically means it's too insignificant to make a big deal about. And I can go into more detail about that later, or actually on the Discord server later on, just if you have questions about nominative fair use, because some people just use literally 0.5 second of a clip, and they're like, dude, you know, I got a claim on this, or I'm losing the revenue for this, or I got a strike on this, worse. And I go, boy, that's a clear case of nominative fair use, and you can get out of that. So anyway, all right, now we got DJ Kevy. Let me just say hi to him. Thanks for the information. I'm relaunching my YouTube channel soon. I'm going to use all the information, skills, and techniques to be successful. Yes, absolutely, DJs, Stevie. It is the time for you to relaunch your YouTube channel. But remember this. This is my attitude towards social media. We are moving out of the age of social media. A lot of you, I used to call myself the social media lawyer and all that kind of stuff. And then I realized about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're moving from this age where all we had was social media to express ourselves. And we had to rely upon AdSense or maybe brand deals or affiliate links to survive. And then we're moving into this an age where we talked about paid DMs, also paid videos. We're moving to this age where I don't think it means you gouge your fans, but you basically say, listen, if you want to watch this video, it's going to cost you, $1, or it's going to cost you $1.99 a month, kind of like the Patreon model. So we're moving into this free internet where they steal all your private information to this paid internet. And frankly, I like the paid internet. It's pay to play. It's kind of like, if I want to watch this movie, it's going to cost $4.99 to rent it. Okay, I don't want to watch this movie because I don't want to pay $4.99, or I really want to see this movie, so I'm going to pay that. So we're moving into this new sector that I really want you guys to be familiar with. So if that's the case, then right now let's use social media for what we can, which is our free advertising. In other words, use it to be able to get people excited about what you're passionate about, and then draw them to this new Web3 concept, which is the paid platforms, whether it be a Patreon, whether it be, like I've said before, making your videos into digital assets that you can sell or rent or license that come with utility. We'll talk about that some other time, but it's mind-blowing what's going on. So Stevie, good job. Restart that thing and then use it for advertising for your remixes that you maybe put up on Async Art, which is one of the best platforms for music digital assets. All right, we got a super chat. Thank you so much, Top Financial Alpha. Ian, how can I show brief TV or movie clips similar to Charisma on Command? I know, that's so good. They're one of my favorite channels of all time, and I know the guys. They're good guys. I understand fair use and transformative content somewhat as I follow you and your videos often. Do I need to buy them? Well, let's just take it from, and thank you so much for the super chat. I just so appreciate that. That's going to go into a fund that I save away for charitable purposes. So I appreciate that. So the answer to your question is let's talk about the basic law. The basic law is yes, you would need to buy it. You would need to get permission for these clips. Okay. I will say this, that the law that exists on the outside of YouTube and the other digital asset platforms is not directly applicable to what people are actually doing. There's just too many people out there, kind of violating the law, so to speak. So when I give you advice, or when I give you some help here, what I'm really saying is, there's always a risk to using other people's content without their permission. All right. And if the law was strictly enforced, you could never do it. Probably, especially with famous movie clips, which you want to use. So the next step comes, all right, so there's a little bit of a risk to using a movie clip without permission from the movie studio. The next step there goes, okay, what does YouTube allow? And really what you do is you are a YouTube consumer and look at the YouTube videos and see where they sit, see what they allow. Now, Charisma on Command, what's wonderful about them is they pretty much excellently execute fair use. I watch that channel a lot. And when they do bring in a clip of Iron Man or something like that to show confidence or how to be confident, or you can just watch me. No, just kidding. No, just kidding. I'm actually not that confident at all. But if you watch this clip, they make it really short. I would say no longer than 2 to 5 seconds, which is my recommendation. And then they do commentary on either side of it. Right? They talk about Iron Man. They talk about, look at, I forgot the lead actor's face, but look at his face. See how he's projecting this. Look at the words. Look at his chest. It's out. So it's projecting confidence, or maybe he's open. His hands are open. So that's confident. So they're talking about the clip, and they only use that portion of the clip that is necessary to get their point across. And they also do things which I totally recommend all the time. And that is that you're very creative. Like, it's not always an Iron Man clip from the actual movie. Sometimes it's a drawing. It's an animation that they get done on Fiverr or Upwork, and they bring it in, and people don't know the difference, or they don't care if they're only seeing a 1-second clip here and then they're seeing an animation of Iron Man fly away or something. So that's how they're doing it. And then the other part that's good about YouTube especially is they're allowing you to upload your video as unlisted, and they go through the copyright checks. And so it's not perfect because it's only automated, but it's better than it used to be, which is kind of like upload it, post it, and you might get a copyright strike even if it still is unlisted. YouTube is giving you a chance to analyze that. So what we can do is talk a little bit more about fair use offline. I got to get to my other rules so we can honor the time commitment here. But go join my Discord server. There's a link in the description section. And what we can do is there's a little channel that says legal questions. Just go there and we can go back and forth, and I can kind of coach you through that. If you ever need to meet with me personally, like you want to provide me with some videos, actually, well, I can't talk about that, but anyway, provide me some videos that I review and then give you my opinions. You can also go to iancorstein.com and set up a consult with me personally. So that's just another option you have. Again, thank you so much, Top Financial Alpha, for the super chat. I love it. Thank you. We got Peter here. I heard the meme JPEGs are copyrighted to the creator, but what if I recreate with similar CCO picture or the same, but with reworded text? Well, it just kind of depends, Peter, on the exact examples that you have. What we're seeing a lot now are memes being turned into paid NFTs out there, and there's becoming an issue with copyright. It's also becoming an issue with trademark coming up. So I really have to see those technically, but the bottom line is you need to sufficiently transform that original art so that no one looks at your content for the original purpose that the original art was created. So I use this example in a video that I made. I'm making so many goddamn videos, but I used this example recently where, Star Wars, you can't put the whole Star Wars movie on your YouTube channel. People will be tuning into your YouTube channel to watch Star Wars, not to see your commentary, not to see your breakdown, your analysis. So that's really the key is not using that much, only using that much that you need to be able to sufficiently transform it. There have been a lot of, I was recently reading about Marilyn Monroe and the fact that there were some definite lawsuits about people doing Marilyn Monroe memes. And now those have gone by the wayside because people have learned that in order to do a Marilyn Monroe meme or some sort of NFT, they need to be able to really transform the original photograph. So you're seeing lots and lots of creative art, lots of 3D art animation of Marilyn Monroe, and we've seen no lawsuits from the Marilyn Monroe estate. So we could talk about it later on Discord if you like. All right, Top Financial says sounds good. All right, let's hit it. Let's go switch on this one. Let's go to rule number 3. This is essential. And by the way, this one I think you're going to really appreciate. Let's turn it. All right. Woo. All right. See, do you like how I've come up with this little screenshot here? There's something going on about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I don't know. I just saw it today. There's some, court proceeding or something. But rule number 3 is you are required, I don't care what you do online, you're required to make truthful content. And there's 2 main reasons for that, aside from the fact of, moral considerations, right? You want to be truthful in life. But the first one is legal, and that is defamation. And of course, we're seeing that come out in the allegations in this Johnny Depp trial that is taking over the internet. You cannot do content on the internet if you don't mention Johnny Depp. So that's why I've done this. The rule is you can't make false statements about third parties. You just can't do it in your videos. And if you do, you are liable to be sued for a number of causes of action, including defamation, unfair competition, business injury claims. We're seeing all those claims in this trial. And so what you have to do as a video creator is you have to rise up to a certain level and realize I can never make truthful content because I'm civilly liable if I don't. And by the way, untruthful content is outlawed by the terms of service for the NFT platforms. True. And also the social media platforms. So you could also lose your account, lose your videos if you're making untruthful content. Now, people go, oh, of course, Ian. I mean, I go through life. I have to be truthful. Why is this like a rule? And the reason why I bring it up is because oftentimes we're in this weird situation where there are allegations. We don't know the true facts of some news story or something going on in the public eye. And so I don't want you to get scared, like you can't talk about those things. What I really want you to do is understand that there's no problem when you review things. If you give it like an honest review of something, or you tell people what you think really happened. There's some sort of incident in the news and you say, this is what I think really happened. But you really have to liberally use the terms, this is my opinion, this is my belief. You can try to use the terms, this person allegedly went to the store, however you want to phrase it, but you really have to say, my opinion is that Amber Heard is going to win this trial. Well, that's my video is probably gonna get taken down right now. But you can say, you have to say these things as your opinion and belief. And if you do that, that's not a false statement. It's just when you bring in a situation where you said, this person did this on this day. And that's not my belief. They actually did this. And then that's proved to be wrong at some point in time, you could have a problem not only with the law, but you could have a problem with the terms of service for the platform. So that is important to know. All right, now we're going to move on to the second reason why you have to make truthful content. And that has to do with the fact that the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, regulates commercial speech on American airwaves. And so they're obligated to protect consumers. So they say they basically outlaw any untruthful advertising, and they will sue you. They will fine you if they find that your advertising is untruthful. So what are the basic rules for this? I'm going to break it down because there's tons, but the basics are, when you're making a video and you have some sort of brand involvement in that video, you have to disclose the nature of the financial relationship. Maybe it's a family relationship. Maybe it's an employment relationship. Maybe you're just friends with this person. You have to disclose that. In the video, I recommend actually saying it orally, but also putting it in the description section. You can definitely do hashtag ad and all the different techniques there to let people know. You can do it now with YouTube, of course, where you indicate that this is a brand video in the upload section of your upload. But you must disclose that. It is obligated. You cannot get over and say, oh boy, I'm talking about the MacBook Pro today, and that's really good. And then you can't and you don't disclose that Apple paid you to do this video. So, and then the other part too, I want to make sure is that some of the creators have come to me, like they do health content, and they say, you got to use this cream, and they say hashtag not sponsored, like the cream is not paying them to do this video, but they're reviewing it or they're talking about it, but they're not providing backup evidence. The FTC wants you to be able to provide backup evidence to your audience whenever you're discussing a product. So if there's, this is 95% guaranteed to reduce that rash on your hand, well, you've got to be able to provide the evidence, at least a link to it in the description section, or describe it better yet in your video. So 2 points: disclosure. Second point is evidence to back up any product claims. And then, of course, this is kind of something that you probably should know. You can't talk about your experience with a product if you haven't used it. There are some creators out there who get so many products and they don't really have enough time to spend time with the product. They get, maybe they're a successful cell phone review channel and they get 10 cell phones like a day or, something like that. And they don't have time. And so they're under pressure. They got to make these videos. And so they're like, yeah, this is a great video. This is a great phone. And Well, the FTC can fine you for that too. So you actually have to have personal use of a product before you say it's good or bad. And also, I think I'll put this in the description section. I didn't do it, but there's an influencer guide put out by the FTC. I have a link to it. I'm looking at it right now, which I can provide you, which kind of gives you these rules in more detail. So if you want to look more about, listen, I do product review videos. I'm getting a little bit weird about this. I don't know all the rules. 2 things: join my Discord server, ask the questions there. I'll give them to you. Second, if you want to do the reading, I have a link to the influencer's guide by the FTC. It's pretty simple. It's like 8 pages. It's not a big deal. All right. Now let's do this thing. Let's move on to rule number 4. Yeah, there we go. Put this on the secondary screen. So rule number 4 is you got to know the basics of trademark if you're going to create videos for mass consumption, whether they be on social media or as NFTs. Now, probably as well as I do that a trademark is a word, a phrase, a symbol, a logo that identifies or distinguishes your product from someone else's product. So a lot of people come to me and say, listen, should I trademark my logo on my YouTube channel? Should I trademark my tagline? And to be honest, I really am looking out for the best interest of the creator. And a lot of times it costs so much to trademark things. And it takes so long. And really, my belief in this internet era is that you fight intellectual property theft with creating new ideas. It's just so hard to track your copyrights and your trademarks, and you got to have a lot of money to do it. But putting that aside, they ask that question. And so I tell them, listen, if it's really significant, it is your business model. It is something that's fundamental and you want to be able to use this as an ongoing product. You should trademark things. I actually have a video on my, in my collection, which talks all about trademark. So you can do that and how to do it yourself. So it's pretty good. I can give you a link or something. But then there's the big question now, which is the most popular because we're starting to see this, especially in the NFT space. What we see, if you're not familiar with NFTs, of course, non-fungible tokens, they are a protocol that allows you to sell any kind of digital asset. It could be video, could be music, could be documents, could be a contract, could be anything basically. But what's getting popular now is using pop culture references in your digital assets, in these NFTs. So it's kind of funny if the Shib dog has a Gucci purse, or it's kind of funny. I recently reviewed a NFT project for a creator that had, I'm going to mispronounce it, but had the Yeezy, I think Nike shoes, these kind of shoes that are really big and squishy, but it was in his project. His question was, Ian, can I do this? Is it a copyright issue? Is it a trademark issue? And so what the general rule is this, guys. I want you guys to survive as creators as the go from the transition to Web 2 to Web 3. And so my general rule is don't use other people's trademarks in your videos. I mean, just try to not. If it's essential to the story, if it is essential to your art, then the answer is you actually can use other people's trademarks in your videos. But if it's not, if there's no need, if you have a Nike hat on in this scene, if Nike is not relevant to the scene, just don't do it, because it invites brands who have unlimited resources to bring lawsuits for trademark infringement or dilution against you, and you just don't want that. So if you can avoid it, do. And that's why a lot of times you'll see videos, they're taped over trademarks or logos. You'll see, people, the Coke can is turned so you can't see Coca-Cola. They do that because they just don't want to deal. All right. But I want to just let you know that there is a subsidiary rule, and that does say, listen, people, just like with fair use, people have a First Amendment right to express themselves and build upon the art of others. And oftentimes, if it's a trademark type logo, there's a need for it for free expression. I mean, I can't count the amount of memes that make fun of big brand logos, and they should be allowed to do that. So the problem, of course, is that there's just more risk, right? Just to give you an example, let's say we're talking about Coca-Cola and you made fun of it by kind of changing the graphics and showing that it maybe is not good for you to drink, all right? That's how you made this meme. Well, listen, that is transformative and is in line with Rogers versus Grimaldi, which is the main case on it. But do you really want to deal with Coca-Cola? Do you really want them, even if they're going to lose the case, they have so much money that they could bring a lawsuit. They take you through this whole process. You got to hire an attorney. And at the end, you win. Yay. And what does that get you? That gets you a waste of attorney's fees. So bottom line, try not to include them in your videos. If you do, it has to be purposeful. It has to be, listen, I am doing a parody NFT on Adidas. And the Adidas logo is foundational to this. I am sufficiently transforming it. We can talk more on the Discord server about how to transform for NFTs, but regardless, I'm sufficiently transforming it. And so I believe in this and I'm going to take that risk. All right. So you can do it. Let's make sure we're good here. We got Earth Central. I'm hoping to at least trademark my channel name. All right. Well, good. I can certainly help you with that. But I also want to take you through it because I often recommend to creators that they don't worry about trademarks because trademarks exist as a matter of law. In other words, you can always TM your channel name and prevent others from taking it to dilute your brand. You don't necessarily need to file for a trademark for that. Do you have the financial wherewithal to oppose someone who's infringing on your trademark? Because if you don't, then why do it? Because it's going to cost money to get the trademark. And then if you don't, you can't enforce it. Why? So we can talk more about that on the Discord server, but yeah, you can do it for sure. All right. Let's move on to rule number 5, use appearance releases. Okay. Does everybody remember, sorry, the tale of David Dobrik, who, gosh, it was last year. I think it was last year. Got in trouble because one of the participants in one of his videos was being accused of sexual harassment, assault, those kinds of things. Looks like David kind of made his way through it, but you won't have that problem with some sort of bad conduct of one of your people that are in your videos if you have an appearance release. There's a couple of reasons for an appearance release. And basically what that is it's an agreement, oftentimes a one-page document that you give to everybody who's in your videos that they must sign and date. And you give them a copy and you keep a copy. And basically it tells the participant that they're waiving a number of their legal rights by participating in this video. One of them is their copyright. There is the claim that they could have that their involvement in your video gives them copyrights that, aren't yours and that they can contest later on in time. I believe that argument is not true, but they certainly could make that claim. And if you have an agreement that says you waive any and all copyrights to this content, it solves that problem, no problem. The second thing is release of publicity rights. Everybody has the right to their name, their likeness, their voice, and they have the right to use those things commercially. So if you become famous and you want to put your name on t-shirts, you can do that and make money. All right. And you have a right to that. But if you're famous and I come and I just take your face and put it on my t-shirts and sell them, you have a violation of the right of publicity and you could sue me and recover the profits that I made from those t-shirts. So with an appearance release, you're telling the participant they waive their publicity rights. Okay. So if there's some funny thing that happens in the Mr. Beast video that's just becomes a meme and they become super famous as a result, and they want to monetize that moment, they're doing some prank or something and they want to monetize that, put it on t-shirts or sweatshirts or whatever, they've waived their right to publicity, and that publicity right, that monetary right, belongs to you as the video creator. And then the most important thing, which is the reason why I brought up the David Dobrik thing, is that you're going to have the participants waive their right to sue you for content that arises out of the video. So in a situation like this, if there was some sort of sexual harassment that went on the video, the person who was a victim of that might sue the person who actually did it, but they also might sue you for vicarious liability. You brought this whole thing together by creating this video. So with that situation, you could make clear that anybody who does something wrong is required to take the full responsibility for doing something wrong, not you. So there's a number of reasons for appearance releases. I will say this: if you would like my contract template, my appearance release, you can go on to iancorzine.com. I have an appearance release. I have various releases for you that you can use for your video productions. If you are doing video productions with any other person, and I don't care if it's your co-host, that's your best friend, you need to sign appearance releases so that you protect yourself. You just want to continue on in your career. You don't want to have problems down the line. All right. So let's move on to, let's see, rule number 6. Oh, location rule. I remember this one. Let's put on Earth Central real quick. I live in Kansas and they have one-party consent law when it comes to recording. Whether it is audio and video, what would that mean? Well, I got to look at the law specifically because I don't do Kansas law. But I got to tell you that probably allows people to record you without your permission. That's fine, even if the law permits it. But I think the law also permits lawsuits to take place. In other words, if the law allows you to record someone without their permission, and then you use that recording that damages their reputation, that causes them some harm in some way, I bet there's a law in Kansas which says they can sue you for that, even though you didn't need to get consent from them. That's why agreements are so important as we move on between this social media time to this, digital asset time. So again, let's talk about it more. Earth Central, join my Discord server, link in the description. All right. So this is really important. And I get this question a lot from YouTubers. It's about shooting locations. You kind of don't think about it, but what's so wonderful about this rule is that it's very easy to understand. All right. So, and I've literally, you should see my notes on it. It's like 3 words. Private. If you want to shoot in my house right here, you need my permission. And if you shoot in my house and then you put it on YouTube, I can object to that and have that video taken down, not only under the terms of service of the platform, but also under law. And I can get money from you for damaging me that way. So private, you need permission. You can't shoot without permission. Boom. Simple, right? Just remember that. Okay. So, or maybe just never shoot private. You know what I'm saying? Just always do public, or what we're going to call quasi-public. All right. So public, you can shoot anywhere. In the public, people automatically agree to being photographed, videoed, recorded if it's in the public. I'm going to show you a quick, if I can do this, because I'm always lame when it comes to this. But I'm going to show you a quick, here we go. I did a collab with Jason Vong recently about, he's a street photographer, really cool guy and super talented, amazing. He said, Ian, I really don't understand the public shooting rules. So could you do a quick little clip for my video about it? So what I'm going to do is show you that quick little clip. Hopefully it shows up here. Let's make sure it does. Let's put it on full screen. And I'm going to show you, he wanted me to do this clip so that I can teach you the rules of street photography in public. So here, I'm going to play this for you. Hopefully it'll work.
Chapter 4, Legalities of Street Photography.
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good.
So, the question that we got asked the most from the first street video was surrounding the legalities of street photography. Is it okay to take photos of strangers, including minors, without their consent and publishing them on social media? Well, we actually called in an expert on this subject matter. He's a lawyer for social media content creators, as well as a content creator himself, Ian Corzine. Ian, take it away.
Hey, Jason, thanks so much for having me on. The answer to your question is yes, yes, yes. At least in America, it is totally legal for photographers to take pictures of strangers so long as they're in a public space. Actually, it is totally legal to take pictures of children without their permission or their parents' permission. Now, these photographers can use these photographs in social media, and they could make prints and then sell them and make money for themselves. They could even do what I would advise them to do, create NFTs out of these photos.
Hopefully we laid that question to rest. Now, while it is legal to take photos of strangers out in
how do I stop it?
Subject is with at that aperture.
All right, so we're back on. So that's kind of explains a little bit about, I guess I can remove this. Explains a little bit about public rules for, we did photography in that particular video, but also that applies to videography. In public, basically everyone is fair game. Remember that. And there's plenty of photographers out there, especially these street photographers, who make a tremendous amount of money. What they do, I watched the whole video, is pretty interesting. If you want to watch it, I'll give you a link in the description. But they almost don't even aim their cameras. They kind of just, they're in the subway, let's say New York subway, and they just kind of go, kind of shoot a whole bunch of photos. And then they look through them and they find these moments, these tender moments, these interesting moments. And they use those photos without the permission of the subject for their commercial photography, and sometimes sell many thousands, if not more, for these videos that they convert later on into NFTs, on OpenSea or Foundation or one of the big platforms, Magic Eden. So that's what's going on right now. If photographers are like, dude, I'm not putting my photos on Instagram anymore. They downgrade the post. Instagram is all about reels right now. So where can I put my photos? They put them on digital asset platforms like OpenSea. So yeah, so that's the general rule for public. Now let's move on to the quasi-public, because this is the biggest question I get about, what if I'm in a kind of a place where all the public is, but it's actually a private sector location? So the perfect example is a grocery store. It could be a private library, a private street, highway, roadway that's owned by someone else. Do I have permission, or can I film here without permission? And the answer to the question is yes, you actually can. But the rules are double fold. The first thing is you can, unless you're asked to leave, right? So you're on a private street and you're filming this beautiful field for B-roll. If the owner comes to you and says, listen, this is my private street, I don't allow photography or videography here, you have to leave. Or maybe you're in a grocery store and you want to show what a day in the life is for you, Jason. You're filming down the aisle, and then you see a sign that says no videography, no photography. Then you got to stop. So if you're in what we call quasi-public place, a private owned location that to which the public is allowed to be in, then you have to stop shooting if they ask you, or if you see a sign, you can't shoot. All right. So those are the 3 rules for shooting locations. Throw that back on the thing. And they're fairly simple. All right. And it's so funny. There's a lot of mystery about it. It's the bottom line is private, you can't shoot without permission. Public, you shoot anywhere. Quasi-public, you can shoot until you're told to stop. Boom. All right. Great. All right. So let's see here. Oh, I just want to say hi to Riley. Hey, Riley. Greetings from Canada. Awesome. I can't wait to visit your country coming up here. I'm looking forward to a new snow season. So I love Canada. That's awesome. All right. Welcome there. Or thank you for coming to us. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, so let's move on to rule number 7, my final rule. Here we go. All right. Ooh, this is my favorite one, publicity rights. We talked a little bit about it, right? The appearance release allows you to have the participant in your video waive his or her publicity rights. But let's just talk about publicity rights in general. You have to understand them to be a successful video creator. And that is, everyone has the right to monetize their likeness, the way they look, their name, their image, or their voice. And so the general rule is you can't use other people's likeness without their permission. And it's kind of taken to a far extent. There was a case in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal, which the jurisdiction is like California, Oregon, that area. And the court actually said that there was this commercial. I don't know, you probably don't remember Vanna White, but she was like a hostess of a game show. Maybe she still is. I don't know. But this commercial did a parody of her. It was a robot Vanna White in this game show. And the Wheel of Fortune people, which I believe it was, sued this commercial company for taking the likeness of Vanna White away and capitalizing it, making money on it. The Ninth Circuit actually said, boom, yes, this was a stealing of the likeness of Vanna White, and they had to disgorge all their profits. So it's kind of a very broad law right now. So the general rule, of course, is you can't take someone else's likeness and then make money with it. The big thing that's happened now, I don't know if you've seen it in the NFT world, is like Snoop Dogg. There's so many and also Drake. There's so many different NFTs that feature Snoop Dogg without his permission. And they certainly do their best to transform and change the colors and make it cartoon-like, but I'm sure at least some of these collections were not authorized by Snoop Dogg. And the question is that legal? And the answer is yes. But let me take you a step back. And that is, if I'm giving you general advice so that you can prolong your video career, probably don't do it. I know it's tempting to make Drake NFTs and get them popular and maybe include in the NFT music so people are stoked. But don't do it, because I think that you're just asking for a lawsuit. You're asking for stress on your mind. Someday, when these get big, is Drake going to come knocking? Right now, no one really cares about these NFTs. They're selling for 0.1 ETH, but maybe someday they're going to be selling for 10 ETH. And that's when Drake goes, oh, this person's making a lot of money off my image. Now I want to bring the lawsuit. Kind of don't want to live with that stress. However, if you are a true artist, which I know a lot of you are, it is acceptable to use someone else's likeness without their permission, so long as you sufficiently transform that image so that the image that you create is not at all involved in publicizing Snoop Dogg. It's just a beautiful rendition, maybe, of Snoop Dogg, and so you can get away with that. It's just that it comes with a little bit of risk. So when a lot of the NFT artists these days are coming to me and saying, listen, I really want to do my favorite artist is Eddie Vedder, and I really want to do a collection devoted to him. Now, in their mind, it's not all about Eddie Vedder. It's probably more about they want to make money off of the fame of Eddie Vedder. And so I caution them. I say, listen, do you really want to do that? Are there other ways you can express yourself, or can you get the permission of Pearl Jam or Eddie Vedder for your art? So, so general rule for publicity rights: can't use other people's likeness, their voice, their mannerisms without their permission to make money. But you could if you really transform your art. So we can talk about how that plays out with respect to music, because that's probably one of the biggest questions I have now. There's a lot of people out there who are making digital music, and they're selling it, and they're remixes of other popular songs. I mean, I was just watching it. I get mesmerized every day on Reddit. There's this one guy, I can't remember the DJ's name, but I mean, he's using very small clips of the music, but they're awesome. And he wants to sell that music. And I will tell you that 90% of the endeavor is this awesome DJ's abilities. So it's very arguable in the court that this is sufficient transformation, but he's taking a risk when he's selling these digital songs. So yeah. And then the other part too on the publicity is just, again, you need a release, right? So when you have participants in your videos, and this video may become viral someday, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but someday this video could be viral. And that person who's in your video, maybe he had a small role. Maybe that was the most important role in that video. And now he's like, dude, I want to assert my copyright. I want to assert my publicity rights. I want to make this a business out of this video. And I didn't sign an appearance release. I didn't waive any of those rights. So you got to give me some part of the money, the AdSense, or maybe the brand deal as a result of my involvement. You just don't want to deal with that. You don't want any problems. So just get a freaking release. Go to iancorson.com, go to anywhere, type in appearance release in Google and find it. There's lots of set forms on the internet. Just please do that so that you can protect yourself and continue to be an awesome video creator. So let's see. Let's see. YouTuber Daily Dose. Hi, we can collab videos. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, YouTuber Daily Dose. Let's see. Where are we at now? So I think just want to do a little review here of the rules so that you guys remember them. And the first one, of course, is Doesn't matter if you're an NFT creator or a social media video creator, please read the terms of service. If you have questions about the terms of service, please jump on Discord, go to my server, ask me those questions. Please, 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 please. I don't want you to lose your account. Understand copyright. 2 components: copyright, automatic protection. Don't use other people's content without their permission. Secondary rule: fair use. You can use other people's content without permission. However, you must sufficiently transform. If you have questions about that, Discord. Always make truthful content. If you always make truthful video content, you're never going to have a problem. All right. So if you use the word opinion belief, you're good. Trademarks. Don't use trademarks in your videos unless absolutely necessary and it's essential to your expression. If it's a video all about In-N-Out burgers, I guess it's something that's going to be included in your video. But if it's just about eating burgers, then you don't need the In-N-Out logo. They don't need to know where you're at. I just watched that Top Gun 2 movie. It's a good example. They never in the whole movie do we know who are the enemy. I mean, they're shooting missiles at them and all sorts of stuff, but we don't know who it is. It's kind of not necessary. It's so weird. I remember thinking about, now, who is Tom Cruise fighting right now? Is it Russians? Is it, Middle East people? Whatever. No, you don't know. It doesn't matter. It was a great movie. So the same is true. If you're doing a movie about how cool it is to eat burgers, you really don't need to identify, McDonald's. All right. Appearance releases, so crucial. Probably the number one thing that I wanted to convey to you is that if you're doing any videos with people involved, get appearance releases, get them to waive all rights and get you, so you have all the rights. You can do what the heck you want with your videos, especially when it comes to you creating video digital assets, which is videos that people can buy. All right. That is coming. That is Web3. Please, please, please be aware of these appearance releases. Location rules, run it right back down. Private. Can't shoot in a private location without permission. Public, shoot anywhere. Quasi-public, can shoot until told not to. Boom. All right, there we go. And then publicity rights. Everyone has the right to their likeness, their voice, their name. So don't use it without their permission. Little subset about that. If it is absolutely essential that you're making a whole collection about Drake, maybe just talk to me in the Discord server. All righty, let's do this. Okay, so I just want to recap here too. Remember, there's a free video creator rules guide. There's a link in the description if you want these rules in writing, so you can keep on your computer, print them out, whatever it is you want to do, so that you never forget these rules. Download this guide. It is absolutely free. If you have questions about any of video creation, and I don't care if it's on social media or Web3, please at me, tag me on Twitter. I'll answer those questions. Discord server, link in the description. It's also here. If you want to take a picture of this particular slide, you can and use it later on. And then the last thing is, people came to me and they said, I don't understand the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. I don't even know how to capitalize on Web 3 opportunities that are happening right now. This wave is moving like this, and we're right at that early stage. How do I do that? So what I did is I put together an email every week where I do handpicked opportunities for you on Web3. For you, what are these opportunities? NFT opportunities, business opportunities. And if you'd like those opportunities delivered to your inbox on a weekly basis, then join my email list. There's a link in the description. It's also here, and you'll get those opportunities delivered to you. So I'm trying to support you. I want you to know the rules, but I also want you to know what are the opportunities out there. So thank you for joining us today for the Creator Workshop. I'm doing more of these Creator Workshops. I'm trying to get you into this transition between Web 2 and Web 3 and make some money off it. Thank you for joining us.